Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. So here's a little compilation from the David Pakman Show. So over the past couple of years, really since the election 2016, I've been talking, blogging, writing, doing videos. Like the mystery. Why do these lower middle class, blue collar guys, why do they support the quintessential grifter, quintessential city slicker like Donald Trump, his name on buildings and airplanes? They have absolutely nothing in common with him, and yet they support him. So watch this compilation. I got this from the David Pakman Show. It's funny as hell. Watch.
Speaking to Trump supporters at recent rallies, as well as other reporters, and I want to play a few of them and talk a little bit about it. We did a story a few months ago about a group of uneducated white women who voted for Trump in 2016 being interviewed on CNN. And it was really bad. And I said at the time, this may not be politically correct, this may not be polite, but we have to come to terms with the reality that many voters have no clue. It's unfortunate. It's not nice to say in these terms, maybe, but the point is that they have just as much of a right to vote as anybody else. And many of them do vote. We have to understand that. We now have some interviews done over the last 5 or so days with various Trump supporters at different events, and it's really bad. It's just as bad. Before we get to the Michael Schur clips, let's start with one from CNN. CNN asking Trump rally goers over the last few days, why aren't you wearing a mask? And it instantly turns into wildly debunked conspiracy theories.
Why are you guys not wearing masks?
I have one with me. It's my prerogative.
But why not wear one to stay safe?
I have a hard time understanding people when they talk, so that's why I don't wear it.
But you can hear me right now?
I can hear you.
Sure. Tell me, why are you not wearing your mask?
Because there's no COVID. It's a fake pandemic created to destroy the United States of America.
But the president said to Bob Woodward that there is a virus, the coronavirus, and that it is deadly.
That's his opinion. The truth is that the CDC said there's only less than 10,000 people die from COVID. The other 190,000 have 2.6 or 2.8 other mortalities.
COVID was created to destroy the U.S. That other conspiracy theory, by the way, about the real number of deaths is 9,000. We've already debunked that. It's been widely debunked. But the important thing to glean is, even though it was debunked weeks ago, you still have these rally goers who probably do vote. I mean, I think that if you go to a rally, you're almost certainly voting. They still are repeating these conspiracy theories. And then it continues now taking sort of a more religious approach about not wearing a mask.
Does it worry you guys at all to be in this crowded space with all these people?
I'm not afraid. The good Lord takes care of me. If I die, I die. We got to get this country moving. What are you going to do? Wear masks and stay inside for another year? Huh? Where'll that get us?
So that's really bad. Then we have these great clips from our friend Michael Schur doing these interviews for TYT. And first, folks going right into socialism.
He says he's not a socialist, but all of his ideas sound like socialist ideas, and everybody around him are like socialists, and they all support that. And I think that as soon as he's in office, he will start pushing socialism if he was in office.
They're the devil. They got a lot of Satan in them. They're out for their own good. They have no interest in the United States of America.
And the they there, who's the they?
The Democrats, Biden, Pelosi, all of them. They just got a lot of evil in them. They are not in the best interest of the United States of America.
I support Trump because he's not a socialist. I'm a foreigner in America. I lived in 2 socialist countries, and I want nothing to do with socialism.
Do you see Joe Biden as socialist?
The people that are handling him are socialists, yes.
There are no socialist ideas from Joe Biden. Now, I've said before, I get criticized for being a socialist, even though I'm not, and for not being a socialist by people who want me to be a socialist. Many on the left wish Joe Biden were a socialist. He's not. There's nothing socialistic about Joe Biden's policies. Here are supporters confronted by Michael Schur with Donald Trump's comments about soldiers who died in combat being losers and suckers, We suspected that many of them would simply say Trump didn't really say it, and that's exactly what many of them said.
Ridiculous, the media. All the lies they put out there are ridiculous. No president's going to make a comment like that. Definitely Donald Trump, our president, is not going to make a comment like that. Look what he's done with the veterans. He's done more for their medical care than any other president probably in the history of the country. So absolutely false, and the media's going to come out with something false every day. They continue to lie and lie and lie, and a lot of people are aware of that.
If John Kelly did say that happened, what would you think of that?
I would disregard it because I know there's over 25 people that said it didn't occur.
Doesn't fit with your worldview? Doesn't match your pre-existing beliefs? Well, then just say it didn't happen. Here's another one.
That's all a lie. He loves the veterans. And I'd rather have him 10 times than I had Biden. Biden won't do nothing but sell our country to China and anybody else he can get $1 from. That's all he's ever done since he's been in office.
As a military veteran, some of the stuff that's come out about what the president's allegedly said about, Americans in cemeteries and whatnot, and what he said about John McCain, a naval man, has that given you pause at all?
It has not. He has said some things that, I say things off of the spur of moment that I go back and say, why did I say that for,
That last guy, interestingly, taking the approach not of denying that Trump said it, but denying that he meant it. And then this last one is really special. Michael Schur from TYT really doing a great job on these. Trump supporters asked, what will you do if Donald Trump loses?
Will you accept the result if Joe Biden wins?
No.
Under any circumstance?
No.
Why is that?
Because it's lies and deceit and corruption.
So this is one strategy. And again, this is the importance of paying attention to the stories Trump tells. They're ridiculous stories, but they work. They stick to people. If Biden wins, it would be fake. Preemptively saying it'll be fake if Biden wins. Take a look at this next one.
I'll be down on my knees praying a lot harder.
Praying for Joe Biden's success, or praying for 4 years from now replacing Joe Biden?
Praying for God to help us.
President Biden, that can't happen. I can't even think about that because he does not like America. He's a racist. Now, that's a racist. If you want to look at someone who despises the black man, the black woman, he looks out for himself. He's a crook. His son is a crook. He's a criminal.
What happens if Donald Trump loses? Do you have a fear for the country if Donald Trump? You're nodding your head. Okay, you can. Well, I'll ask both of you.
We actually have plans to move to Panama because it's a city, or it's a country that allows Americans to move there and to actually own firearms there. I mean, if they trust us enough to own firearms as, people with legal right to be in their country, it seems like a place that's not planning to do something terrible to their people.
But if he wins, it means the Democratic machine has won in some of the illegal tactics that, the voter fraud. I think that if he loses, they come after all of us supporters.
Yeah, Biden is actually the racist. Now, I know the reaction from many of us when we watch this stuff, when we hear these clips, is disgust. How are these our fellow Americans? How is it possible to have such uneducated, ignorant people in the United States? This is the result of our education system. This is the result of religious indoctrination. This is the result of decades of anti-intellectualism, going back to, in a sense, anti-intellectualism has been around for hundreds of years, but certainly prominently in the Republican Party to Reagan. And, this imaginary welfare queen with 12 kids and a Cadillac and whatever the story was. Everything we've been talking about, this is the outcome that we are seeing. We are seeing it front and center, and it is very ugly. Check out one other one here.
I've actually considered leaving the country, moving to South America or something like that, if something like that happens. I've had neighbors that moved when Hillary was running against President Trump because he was convinced Hillary was going to win. He sold everything and moved to Panama. So I'm thinking, my ancestors did that back in the 1900s when they left Germany. So
I would hurt for my grandchildren.
Why South America, I wonder? Most of those governments in South America are left-wing governments by most standards. Now, if the guy likes authoritarians, I guess he could look at moving to Venezuela, but I don't think that's the idea of a better place for most Trump voters. But really, really stunning stuff. And we have to resist, there's this thing that will often happen on the left where we start kind of moralizing and talking about, these poor, stupid people and blah, 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 blah. They vote. And I think that we really need to see them. It's much more productive to see these folks as victims rather than perpetrators. They are victims of an education system that has failed. They are victims of, in some cases, religious indoctrination. They are victims of a lack of media literacy and a corporate media that thrives on salaciousness and so on and so forth. It's far more productive to do that than to look down at them from some moral high ground, which I think is both unjustified in many ways and